Good morning, everybody, and a warm welcome to our Base.com Marketplace Spotlight webinar. We'll just wait for a few more people to join. Grabbing their coffees, mid-morning coffee. AJ, Tomek, you're loaded up, are you? Thumbs up. It's 1 minute past, so those who aren't here to see the first minute, they've missed out, but they might be able to catch it up on YouTube. Again, welcome to you all, and thanks for joining this Base Marketplace Spotlight webinar. My name is Pete Dupont, and I look after the UK partnerships at Base. We get the chance to be able to showcase some of the key marketplaces as part of this sort of partnership ecosystem that we have. Today, I'm really pleased to welcome AJ, Senior BD Manager from Temu. AJ, thank you for joining us. How are you?
Thank you for having me. Yeah, fantastic. Thanks for inviting us on the webinar, and look forward to getting through everything.
Pleasure. Do you want to give us a quick intro about yourself?
Yeah, so I've been at Temu since January this year. So I was one of the early starters in the UK team to manage only local to local. My history is essentially car parts and accessories in tech. So I was at eBay for nearly 5 years prior, in two different areas. One is computing and one is car parts and accessories. And prior to that, I was in the tech game for many, many years for companies like Asus and MSI. So I manage a team of 6 to 7 people who look after those two areas specifically. And they're areas that we're pushing to grow, but there's so many other areas and other verticals that are booming on Temu. So I'll be speaking about everything in general today.
Amazing. Well, we're lucky to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Alongside AJ, we have Thomas, who sits on the UK BD team at Base. Welcome, Thomas. Do you want to give us a quick intro as well?
Hi, everyone. My name is Thomas. I'm Business Development Manager in Base. And yeah, I used to work previously in PayPal, eBay as Google and Meta. I'm in e-commerce with all those companies for the last 13 years. And yeah, I'll be happy to speak with any customer or potential customer who is willing to expand business with us.
Amazing. Thank you, Thomas. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to drop them in the chat, and we'll get to them probably at the end of the webinar if time permits. If not, we'll follow up directly after the event. What we'll do today is we'll go through a little bit about what Base is for those who don't know. We'll talk about the UK marketplace as a whole and how Temu sort of fits into that space. We'll then hear from AJ to talk about the inner workings of Temu and the opportunity to join it. Thomas will then take us through how Base and Temu sort of fit together and how you can list and manage Temu through Base. And then we'll go through some questions at the end. First and foremost, we have a really exciting event next week. So Base is hosting our Meetup Scale-Up event in London. It would be great for you to come and join us. It's aimed at sellers looking to grow and upskill on new channels. It's going to be a great day packed with lots of insights and top tips and actionable steps to help you sort of grow your business further. We have great partners there, including Temu, and also Rugby World Cup winning coach Sir Clive Woodward looking to share his insights on how you can build a winning mindset. I'll share a link in the chat now. And you should be able to see that on stage. I will share this link afterwards as well. We also have a special discount for those on this webinar, which gives you 50% off your ticket. I'll paste that in the chat as well. And again, we'll follow up on email. So it's a great chance for those in the UK, certainly London, to come and speak to Base, but also come and speak to Temu in person. So if you're thinking about joining the platform, you're keen to learn more, I'm afraid AJ has a better offer. He won't be available because he's on holiday, but other people from the Temu team will be there to help you talk about the way you can join that platform. So it's going to be a great chance to meet up there. So we look forward to seeing you there. In terms of Base, for those who are less familiar, Base is an end-to-end multi-channel management platform that helps e-commerce sellers better manage and coordinate and scale their online channels. Since 2006, we've grown enormously across different regions, now with over 30,000 users across the world, and some exciting plans to expand into different territories later this year and next. Base is a very multifunctional platform which brings together different components within the e-commerce operational flow, particularly looking at how we consolidate your sales channels under one roof. That includes your marketplaces like Temu, D2Cs, social commerce, etc. In a nutshell, and Thomas will take us through some of more of these details a little bit later on, but Base stores your product data for your listings. It manages your inventory and pricing and can create listings on those channels. And all the orders come back into Base to be fulfilled and dispatched in the ways that you dictate as a business. But we have our own WMS and pick and pack solutions within the platform. So it's a really comprehensive tool. And again, Thomas will take us through some of these things shortly. In terms of pricing, obviously it's a key factor. There are no fixed contracts with Base, no fixed volumes to hit as we operate on a pay-as-you-go basis. So again, it's 19 pence per order and £29 per month as a monthly subscription. So if you have a quiet month, you just pay 19 pence per order plus that £29. If you have a higher month of higher success, of course, you pay as you go with that too. So it supports you as you grow. Let's talk a little bit about Temu and how that fits into the UK sort of marketplace scene. So for those who haven't been watching, Temu launched in the UK into 2023 and has been pretty impactful for both sellers and consumers. It brings product range and low prices for consumers, as well as a new approach to sort of gamification, which I think we haven't really seen in the UK before. For sellers, it's a really exciting new channel to join. So a huge shopping audience. AJ will correct me on this, but I think Temu app has been downloaded over 750 million times worldwide. So that's an indication of its popularity. The expansion into the UK, of course, is off the back of huge success in China and Asia, and the move over here to try and replicate that success. AJ, just on the back of that conversation, obviously coming over from China into the UK, there's sort of a perception, I suppose, that lots of Chinese sellers are coming over with the marketplace in the UK. How is Temu supporting sort of local sellers in the UK?
Yes, a good question. So we are purely a UK team that's focused, and our KPIs are to build the local business, right? So our focus and dedication is local sellers. There's certain things that obviously export can't compete with, like branded, faster delivery times, better customer service. There's all sorts of things that would give local advantage, but also local gets a traffic boost purely for those factors. There's local badging, and as we update the website over the next kind of 6 to 12 months, there'll be a lot more focus for the inventory to be more local. So that's why it's important that we have this conversation today and to kind of move over the thought that Temu is purely an export website to the UK. It's not. The focus is very much towards giving the vast amount of buyers that we have the opportunity to purchase local and to get faster delivery time, competitive pricing, and big tier branded products.
Yeah, great. Thank you, AJ. And from your perspective, when you talk about Temu as that attractive proposition, how do you see it sort of fitting alongside some of the more, I suppose, established marketplaces, for example? How does it fit into that multi-channel environment?
My saying has always been the same, right? So I'm not against eBay. I'm not against Amazon. I actually shop from everywhere, right? My personal preference is I like to be able to shop wherever I like to be purchased. Where Temu slots in is that it's an extremely used app. It's mainly app focused, right? So we were born on the app technology rather than a desktop and then moved over to app. So our kind of designs and features update very quickly. We move very fast. My always advice to anyone is I never criticize or compare versus others. I just say put your inventory where the buyers are. and let them choose where to purchase from, right? So whether you're a business that sells on other marketplaces, D2C, whatever that may be, there's no reason why Temu wouldn't be another addition for incremental, because we do have buyers that will purchase from all sites, and we have buyers that are individual to Temu, just like eBay and others do. So my advice will always be where the buyers are, and be, as you've just kind of mentioned before, we do have a lot of buyers worldwide, and especially in the UK, who are what we call regular buyers, active buyers. So it's an interesting one. Bottom line, be where the buyers are, and we are definitely a destination for buyers.
Yeah, and I think that's great advice. The more channels, your different pockets of sellers that you're talking to, different demographics, and more sales. So that tends to be a solid approach. What are the challenges then, AJ, that you see of sellers who want to start selling on Temu? I mean, is it logistics? Is it tech? Is it data?
I mean, we obviously have partners like you that help with the data and the tech and everything like that. So I think the challenges is Temu is a place where, and I'll mention this in the slide later on, is that having a contact within Temu to talk to is probably key to guide you through that process all the way through. I won't talk too much about it now, but in general, in the slide later on, I will. We do offer a kind of a white glove service to partners and sellers like yourselves who introduce us to. So essentially, we're not a faceless company when we talk about local. We are extremely approachable. We have WhatsApp groups, we have email, we have Zoom calls, we visit people all the time. And look, we're at the size now where we started off, I think you mentioned, in 2023. In the UK, we started late 2023 with one person, and now we have over 40. I think we're reaching 47 people by the end of this month, right? So, and they're purely local, dedicated people. Within that includes account managers and category managers, etc., and BDs, right? So essentially, whatever problem you do have to try and get on board, which is not too different to what people are used to. If you're used to e-commerce, then you'll be used to kind of Temu's process. But there's always someone there to help is kind of my bottom line. And having that kind of introduction via yourselves, or that partnership via yourselves, is definitely a key to kind of the to winning on Temu, I'd say.
Yeah. And just jumping ahead then, in terms of the process from beginning to end of showing interest in signing up to Temu to actually start selling on Temu, is there a definitive answer you can give me as to what a timescale might be?
I'll give you. I've had people sign up and start selling within 1 day, which is unheard of, right? It's extremely fast process, but usually there's some verification, just like we do with other platforms, where verification of who you are, banking, etc. We're a site that takes security very seriously, so we want to make sure the right people are selling the right products. And we have all sorts of things in place to make sure that the business is a legitimate business, especially when it comes to local. And we put a lot of focus on, we're not a site that is opened up to absolutely everyone. Like we're a site that having that interaction, having that communication is definitely key to that. So best case 1 day, the worst case I've seen is 7 to 10 days, I'd say.
Okay. So generally speaking, that's in a 2-week window, you can have your products onto Temu, and of course there are ways to expedite that through partners like Base.
Absolutely, and all the way through that, the communication is every day. So if there's an error or an issue, we can help support that. If everything's is rosy and you just want to talk about what's the best way, what to do, we're also available. So I think that's the key thing that I want to mention there, is that we are extremely available and approachable.
Okay, thank you, AJ. That's really good to know. Thomas, from your side, of course, you're having calls on a daily basis with sellers who want to adopt to channels like Temu. What do you find are the biggest blockers that can affect the window that AJ mentioned in terms of onboarding?
I think any sorts of problems that are appearing with customers starting on Temu can be resolved by exactly what AJ mentioned. The key to success is to have the direct contact, and everything can be resolved. It can be anything from verification of the account to particular item or brand that you're selling. But as long as you have a direct contact with someone in Temu, that can be swiftly removed. This roadblock is disappearing. What I wanted to add is that we already have some successes in base with our customers, and yes, I also had this story recently of customers who just enabled Temu. They uploaded the products that they couldn't actually sell on other platforms in UK. They woke up next day and everything was sold. Of course, you have to always consider the items that you're selling and the competition that is already on the marketplace in the category. But I'm just saying that these stories are happening already. But in general, Temu is consistently being the biggest booster of sale for our customers who only thing that we did was to enable Temu. They already reached their extremum on all other marketplaces, and this was just a natural progression. And I would encourage everyone to reach us, discuss the opportunity, and try.
Cool. Okay. Thank you, Thomas. That's probably then a good chance to be able to pass over to AJ to talk us through what Temu looks like from his perspective.
Sure. Thanks again, Pete. So we've probably all heard, and I'm reading the chat, and I'll answer some of the questions. Probably some of the questions will be answered during this small presentation. But I think everyone's heard of the term "shop like a billionaire," and I think the term that we use for our sellers as "sell like a billionaire" is one of the ones that we like to say. So look, I won't divulge too much into this. I think everyone knows that the kind of global e-commerce market is huge and growing. It's there's a new marketplace popping up pretty much, it feels like, every week at the moment. So again, this is not a criticism of that. This is just the way the market is going, right? So people are looking at the opportunities, and sometimes, spending all the money on your own D2C platform can be tough with the advertising spend, etc., that you need to do. So marketplaces are a great tool for you to kind of have incremental business. So the marketplace, e-commerce marketplace is expected to go to 8 trillion by 2027, and this is, I think, Pete, you mentioned before, there's a few kind of marketplaces coming from the Asia side of the market, and we are definitely one that grew very quickly from when we originally launched, and I'll go through that. So what is Temu? And I think we started with a bit bang in 2022 with the Super Bowl advert, which took kind of America by storm. And since then, we have had nearly 735 million downloads of the app in 90 plus markets, and the kind of the figures are quite extravagant, considering that the amount of time that we've been born. In the UK, I think the actual app downloads is surpassing 20 million now in the UK, which is nearly a third of the population, which is fantastic. As again, we are very much an app-based software. I think most of the purchases go through the app rather than the desktop. And look, we mentioned about I think Thomas, you mentioned about the kind of gamification before. I think everyone is quite familiar who uses Temu about the spinny wheel, the cups, and the coupons. I think there was a question, I think, by Eric in the what tools do we have in terms of how to promote. At the moment, we're not an ad-based platform, so you can do ads should you want to, but that's not the driver. The driver is having inventory that's competitive and in demand and what people search for, and that's what we drive traffic towards. All the things that you see on the left-hand side with the engagement, the coupon, the things that you see, the cashback offers, believe it or not, none of the sellers contribute towards that additionally. It's all just through the way that we generate our revenue is we input that back into the product. So if you ever see someone who has a £50 coupon off a £100 item on Temu, like, what I don't want you to think is that the seller is really forking out for that. Actually, what we're doing is we're helping the conversion by reinvesting the money that we make back into the products, which is a win-win for the seller, and the buyers get a great experience as well. Affordability is a big thing as well, right? So affordability, there's no secret that the majority of our products originally were sold were exported into the UK. It was really affordable, decent quality products that were sold in the millions and millions, right? So that's how we were born. The angle that we're moving away is that we want to keep that. That's a good base to have, but we want to move over to also local as a priority. And being app-based, the app is, we believe, very easy to use. It's very scroll-based, visual. It's a very smart app. I don't know if people use it again here, but it knows what you're looking for. It knows what you want. It suggests quite regularly, and I think that's a really good way to convert again. It's a very smart way of kind of doing the sales for you without you having to be too involved on the platform. I know there's other platforms that you have to be involved in ads and spending and keywords, etc. You don't have to do that here. It's a much more simple formula. It may be like something like Thomas, you were saying, like sometimes you will just list your products and then sales will come. And that's because our algorithm and our advertisement does all the work for you. And I think that's a great place to be in such a competitive market where margins are being eroded. We recently did a survey in the UK, and this is some of the results, right? So 81% of the UK believe of the people interviewed believe that Temu delivers value for money. 4 in 10 British shoppers expect to spend more on Temu this year. And that's some of the work that we're also doing as well, right? They expect to spend more because there's more product available. There's more branded items. We have sold £3,000 MacBook Pros. We're selling £2,500 graphic cards. We're selling TVs. We're selling furniture. We're selling all these kind of good stuff. And that's a testament to how we're increasing the average spend and the ASP, and we're having more and more buyers in those areas. So 74% of the UK said that they would be extremely likely to recommend to Temu to other users. I'm going to give you a very quick example, and this is a completely true story, and I've got the receipts to prove that. My cousin, who when I told him I'm joining Temu, he mentioned that he would never purchase from Temu. He doesn't believe in it. Now I have screenshots every day of him purchasing products from Temu, and he says it's the best. It's just the way that he got so involved in it, the way it knows what he's looking for, and the commercial, the coupons and etc. The gamification, Pete, like you mentioned it, he really enjoys it. He really takes the benefit from that. So it really does become a part of, once people start to using it. It's not as bad as the first thought it would be. There is a lot of notifications. There is a lot of kind of spinning wheels and things like that, but people seem to enjoy it, and the number of users that we have kind of deemed to say that is a positive thing overall.
Just to add to that, AJ, do you think there's a cultural element? Obviously, it's been so successful in Asia, and there is a different sort of culture in terms of shopping and how you interact with sites there. And do you think culturally in the UK that's now growing, that acceptance and that sort of letting their guards down a bit to be able to enjoy that side of the platform?
I think, honestly speaking, I think sometimes people thought it was too good to be true. Like, I think the gamification on that, probably they thought, oh, this can't be true. I think some of the biggest comments I've had is that's not real. Like, you can't give that coupon. And the answer is we can. Like, we're fully above board. It's purely legal. We can offer that coupon because we cover it. We are contributing towards that to give the seller a good experience and the buyer a good experience. So I think sometimes what original people thought was, is that oh no, this can't be real, so therefore I'll ignore. But as more and more people have used it, and a lot of people have used it, more and more people have recommended to others. They do now see that this is actually a thing that does work, and it drives engagement, and people do regularly purchase. And we have seen that ASP creep up, which is what we wanted to do. But again, that's a lot down to the work of what we're doing in terms of bringing better inventory, local inventory that's branded and high ASP. So yeah, I do think that the shift is happening in that area. Okay, so very quickly, launched in 2022 in the USA. We launched in April in the UK, but we never really, and that was the export model. That was the app from everyone from the Far East importing into it. But actually, in August 2024, the UK team was formed by my old boss at eBay, which was Tony Tong, who decided to build out the team in the way and the structure it was to kind of go after local business and convince them that actually this is a great avenue for you to sell your products. So December 2024 ranked as the highest downloads in UK Apple Store, and then it's just gone from strength to strength, right? The numbers are there, it's visible, and I'm pretty sure that I think 1 in 3 people will have the app on their phone somewhere. Why did we launch local to local? And I think they based the picture on my looks there, but that's a different topic that I'll bring up with our internal team. So previously, people used to purchase products like unbranded safety shoes, all sorts of things, and the demand was always there. They always wanted the kind of DeWalt's and the Bosches, or the local building supply. Now, I'll mention a bit more about that kind of supply shortly, but also like tech products. I'm from a tech background. You can buy some unbelievably good value tech from Temu, but sometimes you want to spend that £1,000 on that Asus Wi-Fi router, which you want because that's the brand that you want. And that's what we're doing. So we have what we see is ultimately what people were purchasing before and what they actually want to go to that next step. And that's where the gaps that we're filling. And that happens again in other areas, like things like car accessories. Prior to this team being formed, car accessories on Temu were essentially cigarette lighter, chargers, things like that. And now we have oils, we have clutch kits. We've sold clutch kits, we've sold tires, we've sold all sorts of products. So as we brand out and build out these categories, more and more things are being available. I think we have all sorts of books, local pet food. There's brands like Mars on the platform. Perfume is one of our biggest sellers. Designer clothes, we have sellers selling branded trainers and things like that. These are things that people are purchasing in abundance, right? So we never had that before. And this is why we're bringing local to local, because we have the buyers for those products, but we didn't have the products itself. And why is it a great opportunity for local sellers, right? So I think what we need to do is still imagine Temu like a shop window. We're a shop window that has very little inventory on show. Okay, so if you imagine you walk past the shop window and there's 10 shelves, I'd say we've got maybe less than half of a shelf worth of inventory. There's so much inventory to go after and demonstrate on the platform. This is why being involved in Temu at the beginning is where you'll benefit, because we're very much traffic and algorithm based. If you get your product on early and it starts to sell, your product will continue to sell and more traffic will be pushed. I think, Thomas, you mentioned that before, is you will turn it on and it will start to sell. And that's because the traffic says, hey, that's new. That's not on the platform. People looking for that. Let's suggest it to them and see what they think. It's a low risk experiment, which I'll talk about shortly. And that's about the commercially competitive part as well. And look, although we all share customers and all marketplaces share customers, we all do. There are people that have their favorites. There are people that will always shop on eBay. There's people who always shop on Amazon. And there's people that will always shop on Temu. Like I said at the beginning, be everywhere and let them decide where to purchase from. I think that's my advice. And that takes us on to the kind of the commercial aspect of it. So there is no joining fee. There's no commission. There's no deposit. There's no hidden fees. I'll explain a bit more about how that works shortly. It is open to all UK sellers as long as you're UK registered and you are VAT registered. We are opening the non-VAT part of the business soon. The timeline is unclear, maybe Q4, maybe Q1. But at the moment, it's VAT registered and UK registered businesses only. To sell branded products, you do need to prove that you have purchased them locally within the UK. There needs to be a reputable. What we don't want is people selling maybe counterfeit or anything like that. So we do some checks on trademarks and things like that, or you can get brand authorization. And there are access, and I think Eric was in the chat saying there are access. You can do ads, you can do coupons, you can do lightning deals, you can do all these things. We don't take a fee from it. What we ask you to do is just reduce what you want for the product. So there's no fee taken from anything that we do. So the way the commercial basically works is, if you've got product A and you need £80 plus VAT for product A, you will list that product at £80, and then you will receive £80 plus VAT when that sells. Nothing gets taken from that. That is purely the settlement that comes to you afterwards. Obviously, when we have one-to-ones with sellers, we can explain a bit more how that works, but that's the bottom of it. So it is very much what you ask for is what you'll get, and there's nothing that gets taken away from there. We do have mentioned dedicated account managers on and offshore. So we have a headquarters team and we have a local team of account managers and BDs that will manage your business all the way through from beginning to end until you're comfortable. Some people want to be left alone after a while. That's fine. If not, then we're here to help you all the way. And then here's a couple of cases, right? Success stories, right? So no tissue. We've done two very ends of the spectrum here, right? So tissue. Who would have thought? Like, we never thought, but tissue is selling in abundance. Blue Roll is selling in abundance. So they launched 4 SKUs in early December last year. And then, they had 1,000 sales in the first month. And now the number 1 local seller in FMCG. I think there was some PR that was done about this, and they did an interview about how it's changed their business. So they've sold over 100K, 1,000 units. So that will only update when it gets to 200,000 now. So it's anywhere between 100 and 200,000. But that's the low end of the kind of scale of the value products. And then we go to the other side, which is branded electronics. Like I mentioned before, we have £2,500, £3,000 MacBook selling. We have mobile phone selling. We have Apple, Samsung. And the other thing is we have refurbished now opened from this year. So we open refurbished categories. So we have refurbished in electronics. We can do furniture. We can do any category that you believe there's an opportunity. We can open for refurbished, which is great. And that has different conditions like other websites does, like used, like new, etc., etc. But the highest branded products in that store regularly sell, and these are brands like DJI, like I mentioned, all kind of products. So Temu is no longer about, hey, like I just want the cheapest product and I don't care about the brand. It's very much split into 2. We have buyers from all areas that want all kind of products. So one thing that I want everyone to take away from today is we need to kind of not think that Temu is a restricted avenue for you if you have higher ASP products. It very much is an avenue for you, and we can prove that with the number of sales that we've done in those areas. And these are some of the products, right? So this is the very last slide, so I'll stop boring everyone with the kind of talk. But look, we opened up oils in the UK. That was the first time for car products. We're now selling thousands of oils. We opened up, consoles, gaming, TVs, even things like tea, furniture, FMCG products, perfume, everything sells. My only thing is that, remember that shop front, we are so under indexed on inventory right now. And as we grow, you could be part of the kind of the growth in that area. You could own that area by having your products listed. Putting a little bit of focus into Temu right now will give you a lot more benefit down the line. We don't do ads where someone can purchase an ad and go above you. It's very much a level playing field. I think that's what we like. So in a nutshell, the bottom line is it's a great avenue for additional revenue for you to have for your business. It's fairly straightforward to turn on through partners like yourself, so you guys can help us with that and get the inventory listed. You have dedicated support from the beginning to the end. And there is a very low touch kind of element of Temu. Once you list your product at the price that you want it to be and what you want to receive, you can take a step back and our algorithm and our marketing will do everything for you. There are additions to that you can choose, but I think many of our sellers right now are just using the basics and having a really great time. So I'll pause there. Sorry, P, I think I've gone on a bit too much, but I'll pause there and let any questions be asked, or we can move on to the next part.
No, thanks, AJ. That was great. There's so much to cover because I think there's a little differentiations to Temu versus other marketplaces, and as you say, talk about the opportunity to join. Obviously, with peak coming up just around the corner, I think it's always about timescales. And traditionally, I suppose there's always a reluctance to join a new marketplace in isolation because you're not sure how to manage it. You're not sure how to look at your listings to optimize it, and operationally, how to fit those new sales into your existing structure in terms of fulfillment and adding pressure on the warehouse, etc. So Base is a tool that can help alleviate those burdens. But in terms of opportunity, as you mentioned, AJ, there are new orders waiting for you on Temu that you're not quite getting elsewhere. There, of course, overlaps, as you mentioned, in terms of shared customer base. But I think with the traction that Temu's got and still getting, it's a great thing to consider, particularly with the support that you offer, because I think there is that unknown of how does this work when I'm adding new channels? Who do I need to speak to? And if the support is there to reinforce that journey and go through that with the seller, that's sort of the more powerful, isn't it?
I think I just want to say as well, as a team, we're this will sound like a sales pitch now, and I don't want it to sound like a sales pitch. As a team, we actually start you off slowly. We don't want you to turn on 10,000 SKUs and build up. We don't want you to be overwhelmed, because it can be overwhelming. You can get 500 orders overnight. It has happened. Like, these things do happen. So we always start you slowly. We get you familiar with the platform until you're comfortable, and then we build you up. That's how we do it. One last example is I've got a kind of a garden seller who joined early this year, and they've just hit, I think, nearly 10,000 products sold, which they are over the moon with kind of where they are to where they thought they were going to be. So I think that the key is the support is there, but we won't throw you in the deep end. We're gonna start you from where we feel that you need to be and build you up. But the good thing that you mentioned is Q4. Absolutely, we know everyone's going to be super busy with Q4. We know Black Friday's around the corner. But it's a great time to dip your feet into it, to get to learn it, because next year it's going to be even bigger. And it'd be a great time for you to start your journey now, in however aspect that may be. Small, medium, large will support you through that, no problem.
And that support is going to be key, I think, again, as an unknown or a new channel, certainly for most. I had one question, AJ, based on the commercial model, again, which is a bit different to other marketplaces. As you said, you've got product A, which the seller would like to receive £80 plus VAT. Temu, just to clarify, Temu then sets the retail price as it will appear for the shopper to buy on Temu.
It adds a margin. It adds a percentage.
Yeah.
It adds a percentage on top of it, but that doesn't affect the seller's funding.
No, just in terms of sort of margin or ratio, is there sort of a set algorithm, or is that part of that sort of strategy discussion with the seller?
It depends what category you're selling. So it depends. Electronics is lower. Certain products are higher. But again, what we can do is we can show you how that works individually. But it's no lesser commercially viable than the other big websites. So it's not more expensive. If anything, it's more competitive. So I think once you take into consideration the ads that you need to spend, and if you want to attend coupons and things like that, I think we are far more competitive. But depending on the product stack that you sell, we will speak to you about where that lies. And there's plenty of sellers that sell across multiple categories, right? So we can explain that to you. But for example, like electronics is around 8%, depending on brand and things like that. But it's very individualized. But one thing I will say is that when we have a conversation with whoever decides to jump on board, we will make it very clear like what percentages for what products are. But they are no more expensive. If anything, they are better value and more margin in the seller's pocket.
Yeah, and the great thing is Temu then tries to promote that on the seller's behalf, as opposed to leaving all the work to the seller to promote themselves.
So essentially, the reason why it's a good time to start in Q4 is because it's quite low touch. Like you don't have to think about, I need to promote, or I need to put keywords in, or I need to keep a look on the competition. Essentially, many of the people on this call or who joined Temu recently, the imagery they put on might be the first time the imagery is even on. So there's no competition. And if there is competition, it might be very small. But there is none of that, I need to spend time to see, I need to spend more money to get above that person because there's 50 of the same product selling. If you actually look on Temu now, it's very rare that there's 10 of the same item. So it's a better place to kind of establish your business. And look, this isn't just for seasoned businesses, right? Like there might be new businesses out there looking at new ways of jumping on, and it might be really hard to compete in those marketplaces that are established. Try Temu. I've got a trainer seller who sells Nike and Adidas and all this, who was having an extremely hard time with one of the other marketplaces because of the amount of competition, and I might give it away, but the buy box issue and things like that, right? So, he's loving life to the fact where he's calling me on Sundays saying, can we do this? Can we do that? And I think this is the exciting part. I don't know when the last time people were excited about selling in a marketplace, but I think that this could be exciting for many businesses on this call, or many new businesses, because it removes a lot of the barriers and frustrations that they may be facing on other platforms. Yeah. Look, we're not perfect either, and we're always evolving, right? So let's be very clear. I want to be very honest about this. Like there's things that we're doing and we're upgrading all the time, but be part of the journey. Be there at the beginning, and you'll definitely benefit from that as we grow and as we improve.
And I think that's a really interesting point. Like e-commerce is complicated, right? And platforms that you sell on need to be tweaked, because that's just the environment that we find ourselves in. That's base as well. But I think to be able to to be able to move on to a marketplace like Temu quickly, to be able to take advantage, as you say, maybe there's a smaller seller who's trying multi-channel for the first time. They have their Shopify, their D2C. They want to be able to to have success on marketplaces, and they haven't had that maybe on other more established ones in terms of maturity. And maybe this is a great channel to try as you're dipping your toe into more that multi-channel aspect. So I think it's really, really exciting time.
One thing I'll say is no matter how small or large your business is, as long as you fit the criteria of UK Business VAT, we'll give you the same level of support. So that's something that we promise and we will do. So we have enough resource to do that. And if we need more resource, we pull that in. So small, medium, large, we're open and interested to speak to you.
Okay, everybody's welcome.
Thank you.
That's it. Thanks, AJ. What I'll do now, Thomas, if I pass over to you, and maybe you could talk us through a little bit more how to make this journey technically possible. So we're interested in selling on Temu. Base is a platform that can help get people onto Temu and adopting it as part of their multi-channel. So I'll hand over to you.
Thank you. So the main thing probably is to get your products, your listings into Temu, and this couldn't be easier with Base. You literally can import your products from any other platform or your shop within minutes, and then start listing it on Temu. Downloading and handling orders would be another thing that our platform would help you with. We would basically capture all the orders from all the other marketplaces as well as Temu, and you'll have one streamlined pipeline basically for your orders. Forwarding shipping numbers is another thing that our platform would do for you. So after generating the shipping label for any courier that you'll be using or fulfillment, that will be forwarded directly into Temu, and that will help to prevent any claims and track the items on the Temu site, just in case any of the buyers would actually contact. Using automated actions, that is something that we always advise to do, to set in accounts of our customers. Yes, you can process all the orders manually, but imagine any repetitive task that you're doing on your account, in your e-commerce. Basically, there's a pretty good chance that we can automate it in our platform, and any workflows that you're doing can be actually embedded in our platform. Generating shipping labels, of course, that is happening in our platform, so you can connect any of the couriers. We have over 300 couriers at the moment integrated, around 50 fulfillment partners. You can integrate all of it and with this generate labels. We help customers to actually create automation rules, which would cover all the possible scenarios where you would use certain courier instead of the other one. Handling orders we already covered, but we have a pick pack assistant which you can use. So because our platform works with scanners, printers, and scales, so we can help you to, depending on your requirements, we can help you to just set up your workflow and packing workflows in Base. Issuing invoices and receipts. So this is something actually that comes as a surprise to most of our customers, that our platform also covered this. They got used to the fact that they have to pay extra, some higher subscription with their accounting software, to actually get those unlimited number of invoices. Our platform can generate invoices automatically, and we can set automation to send it to the customer after each purchase or after the last scan after item was delivered. And for those marketplaces which require to upload of the invoices to the marketplace, this is actually supported as well. Synchronization of quantities and prices. So I think this is from all the features that I described here, I think this is the key one for Temu. I was already mentioning the stories about items being uploaded and sold within the night, but a very repetitive story that I hear from customers is they didn't expected that it will actually go that well. So it's something that we refer as explosive growth. So if you don't have any stock synchronization platform in place at the moment, probably this will be the biggest risk by entering Temu, because most likely the result will be much better than you expected. So the last thing that you want to do is just oversell. How to integrate Temu with Base? It couldn't be simpler again. You literally just log into your Base account. You go into integrations, add integration. You're clicking on Temu and put in your credentials. And after this, the Temu as a marketplace will pop in on the bottom left corner of your screen. Yeah, that's the tile that represents Temu in our integrations. And yeah, after this you have all available options, including creating listings. Did we skip something? Sorry. Which also Temu. I think we cover we have an end-to-end e-commerce platform, so you must understand that anything from we can support you from the beginning of the process, from getting the items into base, listing, synchronizing the stock and the pricing, processing orders, sending invoices. So honestly, this is something that I think our platform will be a key to success, where uh, most likely most of the customers that I'm speaking with, they're just afraid that there will be additional engagement, and they'll need additional resources actually to manage the orders from Temu. But with our platform, actually, this is becoming seamless, and we can help customers to actually make this a seamless experience. There's no additional. If we have customers who are already using our platform, adding a Temu will not require additional resources to manage those orders, because our platform will help with listing, with synchronizing the stock, processing orders, invoicing. So honestly, what they'll experience is just boost in sales. Um, um, Mapping requiring data, I think that's where we will shine actually. So of course, moving the products from one marketplace to another, or from shop to another marketplace, is never just 100% seamless. Let's say our platform will get it to 80%, but still there'll be some additional fields which some marketplaces require that will have to be mapped or filled in. And with our mapping tool, that will be really easy, where we can, for example, map manufacturer with brand for all items, save it, and that's one of the fields, for example, that is required for most of the marketplaces. That will make the whole transition to Temu, or adding a Temu, much better and much swifter experience. Listing, once the item is listed, and all the data is populated, the additional label will be displayed in the inventory manager. So you'll see and you'll know basically if that the item is synchronized in terms of pricing. The listing is there, and you'll be able to fully control the listing. Managing orders, so all the orders will be flowing through into our order managing tool, where you can also process this manually, but we always encourage to just automate the process. So your shipping labels, your pick list can be printed automatically. The right courier can be chosen. So in the end, this will not require additional resources to process the orders. I think this slide with the fulfillment also explains that we can also we can also link the fulfillment partners, and again, decision making can be done automatically or manually, depending on you. We can set the default values. The key for automation is to have the right data on the product. So if you have the dimensions, the weight, this can be a seamless process. How can we help you to basically get our platform a bit more. Yes, we have a broad knowledge base. We have a blog with changelog where all the new features are posted. But I think really great resource is actually our academy. We have a basic one and advanced one. And I would encourage anyone who's will be using our platform to actually complete the basic academy. It takes around 3-4 hours. It's a Udemy style kind of academy where it's video based with some questions after each chapter. But based on my experience, this is actually not only giving a lot of knowledge, but also triggering a lot of questions for customers because they realize what else is possible in our platform, like repricer functionality or any other features that is required for running large business. Um, and yeah, what I would like to end on is we had numerous discussions with Pete and AJ, and I think there's still doubt, if among customers, based on my conversations, uh, if I join Temu, how I can compete. But think about it like this: uh, if you are actually, buying your products from China, there are no label, white label products. Of course, there'll be a large competition on Temu. But if you selling a local brands, European brands even, if you're selling a large items that actually would not only increase the price of delivery from China, but also create certain restrictions. If you have those already in UK, I think there's a huge potential, and I think you will be pleasantly surprised with results.
Thank you, Thomas. One question quickly before we jump on, because I'm conscious of time now. We've been rambling on too much, all of us together. From a base perspective, we've learned about how long it might take to onboard onto Temu. From your experience, how long would it take to get started on base? And I guess there's that caveat of what data looks like and what's the current tech stack, for example.
I mean, if you're just starting fresh with base, it's just about importing your products, connecting Temu. We can literally set you up within 1 or 2 hours. It also depends, on the data and amount of products. We have customers who base their success on 7 SKUs. We have some customers which have 20,000 SKUs and some customers with 400,000 SKUs. So of course that creates additional complexity. But if you have let's say within the 1,000 SKUs and you would like to just start on Temu, it's a matter of investing of 1 or 2 hours of your time, and you can be up and running. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Thomas. And there is that if caveat. The data is in the right sort of format, and we can help you shape that. But it does give you the ability to be able to launch very quickly, and that fits nicely within Temu's timeframes as well in terms of how we can get you up and running. We've had a few questions that's been popped up throughout the webinar, so we'll just go and revisit some of those. Starting with Olivia here, talking about listing on Temu. Tom, I can probably refer to or defer to you on this one. Listing errors typically happen when there's a mismatch of data. But again, this is probably going to be a case-by-case basis. But Thomas, if I pass to you, if you can hear me, or maybe he's dropped off, in which case I'll take the hot seat. I think, yes.
I mean, I can help answer that.
Okay.
Ultimately, obviously there are many variants and many products, right? So we have sellers who have published through yourselves like many variants, and it's fine. It just sometimes depends on how the data stacks up. But I think the good thing is that we've got a dedicated kind of product team, and we work with you guys. So if there are any errors, I would expect them to be resolved fairly quickly, just because of how active we all are. So look, I wouldn't say variants are a big part of people's products. Like we have many variants, colors, size, models, etc. And we have plenty on the site, if you can see, that has variants. So what I can just say is that even if we do come up with an error, we can always find a speedy resolution around that.
And the same would apply for within Base as well. Again, complexities of how data could be formatted together. If there's a mismatch in any way, shape, or form, then obviously both teams are here to be able to help with that. Moving on, Maisie, thank you for your question. Also, I saw that you're coming to our event next week, which is great. One for you again, please, AJ. What are the top products or categories within Temu, and where do you see that moving? What's the future look like in terms of categories?
Yeah, so a great question, right? I still want to refer to the shop window. I think everything's an opportunity, but I think there's certain areas that we are definitely under indexing. So I think if everyone knows how Temu works, there's always a question about the kind of competition versus overseas sellers exporting on. One thing they can't ship is things that like large products. Like they can't ship large products. They can't ship it's either too expensive or it doesn't fall within their remit or it gets damaged. So furniture, flat pack, larger products that you would ship locally, you definitely have an advantage over anyone from any other regions, right? So, have a look at those items. But again, anything that's branded. I had an example very quickly of a car care seller who was very big on another platform, who originally said, I don't want to get involved. There's too much competition on the platform. I think he's number 2 in car care now on Temu, right? So like the question is everything can be an opportunity. If you're strong from your products in other areas, bring them on. But there are definitely some categories that are under index. So things like that they can't be shipped, can't be transported. Like oils can't ship from China. Furniture, large furniture cannot be shipped. So there's lots of areas that we can discuss in further detail with the right category lead. If you want to have a conversation.
And that brings us on to a question from Eric here. Are there any categories that are blocked?
So yes, and we're working through the ones that are blocked. So things like nicotine is not allowed on the platform. We've just opened alcohol, but you need to have the right licenses and things to sell. We've just opened refurbished / new and used, so you can have used products on there now and refurbished to certain levels. At the moment, things like knives, etc., are banned. We're working with compliance to see what we need. Things with age verification are in progress. The goal is to be just as available as any other marketplace online, but we're doing it step by step, and we're making sure that we tick all the right boxes to keep everyone safe and happy. But there's not a huge amount that is blocked. But there are some block categories that we are working through to see what we can do about that.
Okay, great. Thanks, AJ. And I guess you can direct those questions to your account manager or one of the team who will be able to advise on where the opportunities sit. Eric, I think we covered another question previously about seller tools, but there's another one here in terms of being the brand owner. And again, talk about that protection element that we sort of touched upon briefly.
Yeah, so we have a brand protection just like everyone else. As a brand owner, you solely can report any issues that you've got in terms of someone stealing your images, your patents, or your products, etc. I mean, as a free marketplace, people can sell as long as they prove they're buying products legitimately. But if they're using any of your brand IPs or anything like that, then you can report that and have that removed. And I think we're very timely in that way. For things that have been reported, they get removed very quickly, as long as it's approved that it's right to remove them. But so yeah, as a brand owner, you have protections just like you would have on other marketplaces. There's a specific way of reporting that we can share with you.
Okay, thanks, AJ. Miraculously, we are almost at time. There are more questions which we can then direct to the Temu team and Base team that we can come back to you directly. Thank you so much for those questions, and thank you for joining us. A big thanks to Thomas and AJ for joining the webinar. I think in summary, it's a great chance to join an exciting new channel and exciting time. If you have any questions, then we can please answer those. I'll share a couple of links again just in our chat now. These will then help you sort of define where you need to go to be able to speak to the Temu team, but we'll share these on email after the webinar. thank you again for joining us. Please come and join us at our event next week in London. And again, details to follow. And keep your eyes peeled for more exciting news from the Temu and Base team. We look forward to speaking to you soon.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks, Thomas. Thanks, everyone. Take care.